Example number 5, I'm using the quadratic formula to solve the equation. So I'm going to, you know the quadratic formula by now already. Let's just get to work. I see parentheses, something in front of the parentheses. Let's just distribute it and combine in terms. Put the equation in the standard form, make one side equal to 0, and then let's just get to work. 3x times 3x is equal to 9x squared, and then 3x times negative 2 is minus 6x. Bring down the minus 1 equals to, I have a negative 2, multiply the inside, we get minus 12x, negative 2 times negative 2, we get plus 4. So the first thing, distribute it, right? And then now let's see how can we put things in the standard form and make one side equal to 0. Let's bring these two things to the left hand side. I see I have the minus 12x right here. Let's plus 12x here so that I can get rid of these two terms, and I also line up right here plus 12x here, line up with the x terms. Then I will get 9x squared, negative 6x minus negative 6x plus 12x is positive 6x. And then right here, I also have a plus 4 right here. That's minus 4 here, minus 4 right there. So that I can cancel out these two 4's. Negative 1 minus 4 is equal to negative 5, and that's equal to 0. And now we are just going to use the quadratic formula to solve this quadratic equation in this standard form. I know that a is equal to 9, b is equal to 6, and c is equal to negative 5. So this is my a, that's my 9. This is my b, that's my 6. Okay, so I know x equals to the famous quadratic formula, negative b plus minus square root of b squared minus 4 times ac, everything on the top, over 2 times a. Okay? Then we're just going to plug in numbers into the quadratic formula and work things out. And we will get, on the top, I have the negative, and then b is equal to 6. But as a habit, whenever you see a variable, open the parentheses. Since b is equal to 6, put a 6 inside the parentheses. So this is my 6. Plus minus square root of, again, just as a habit, whenever you see a variable, open the parentheses first, plugging the value into that parentheses, which is 6 again. So 6 square minus, I need to make the square roots longer, minus 4, and then see the a, open the parentheses, a is equal to 9. And then finally, the last one on the top, I have c, which is equal to negative 5. So this is just the top. And then we also have to make sure that divide by, the top, divide by, everything on the top, divide by or over 2 times a, so 2, and 2 parentheses, a is equal to 9, like this. Okay, now, I have negative 6 plus minus square root of some number inside, which I want to do it on the side. Inside, I am looking at 6 squared. Let me again just maintain the parentheses. Minus 4 times 9 times negative 5. 6 squared is equal to 36. Minus 4 times 9 is 36. And then, so the way I do this is, I do the numbers, I multiply the numbers out first. 4 times 9 is 36. And then 36 times 5 is 180. But then I shouldn't put a sign. This is minus times minus. This should have been a plus. Okay? So work out numbers 4 times 9 times 5, which is 180. And then negative times negative, that will be a positive. When you add, you will get 216. So the inside turns out to be 216. Over, on the bottom, we have 2 times 9, which is 18. So again, this is pretty much it for the quadratic formula part. But then we should look at how we can take care of the square root of 216. So this was just the inside. And now let's look at what can we do with 216. Square root of 216. How can we break this down? Again, we should look at if there's any perfect square that can go into 216. And actually, I would probably just show you right now as well. If you have this calculator, as soon as you just, in the normal mode, and then just enter square root of 216 like that. Okay, put it right here. So as long as you just putting square root of 216 onto this calculator, and then if you hit equal, it simplifies to 6, a regular 6 times square root of 6 for you. Okay, other calculator may return you a decimal, but this calculator is programmed so that it will try to return to you the exact number first, which is a square root form, right? 6 square root of 6, 6 square root of 6. And in some cases, maybe you will need to look at the decimal of this number, then you will have to press the S to D key to get decimals. Okay, so you can actually just use a calculator to get square root of 216 becomes 6 times square root of 6. But to show you how to do this, square root of 216, this is actually 36 times 6. 36 times 6 is actually 216. And the reason I picked this combination is because 36 is a perfect square. So then when we write this as square root of the first number, which is 36, times square root of 6. So notice that I can break down into 2 square roots, okay? Then, by looking at this, I know that square root of 36 is a regular number 6. But then square root of 6, this 6 inside, it's just that. I cannot simplify this anymore, because that's like 2 times 3, but I cannot simplify that anymore. So we just maintain this as square root of 6 right here. So now, this right here is what we are going to plug in for square root of 216. So on the top, I have negative 6 plus minus, this becomes that, 6 square root of 6. So maybe I'll just write this as 6 square root of 6. All this comes from that. And then we did it right here. Over 18. Over 18. And now, to simplify this, I think the way I like to do this simplification is just split into 2 fractions, separate this into 2 fractions. We can do that when we have just one number in the denominator. Okay? You maintain the denominator to be the same. On the top, I see I have the negative 6 first. I'll put that over 18. And then the second one, we will have plus minus this right here. I have 6 square root of 6 over the same denominator, 18. And once we get to here, I can just look at, I have 6 over 18, this is 1/3, right? But I noticed that that was a negative, so technically, well actually, the correct answer will be right here, a negative 1/3, plus minus, right here I have 6 over 18 again, cancel, I guess square root of 6 over 3. Okay? And you have to be really careful that square root of 6 over 3, this 3 is not under the square root, but this 6 is. So let me pick it, put a note on the side. Square root of 6 over 3 like this is not the same as saying I want to cancel out this become 1, I want to cancel out this become 2. I cannot just divide and say this is equal to square root of 2. This is incorrect. We can only do simplification if both numbers are under the square root, inside of the square root, or they are both outside of the square root. This 6 was outside, this 18 was also outside of the square root. That's why I cancel these 2 numbers. I reduce these 2 numbers. Now, here, the 6 and this 3, this one is inside the square root, but this one is not. So we cannot do any further calculations. We cannot do any further simplifications. So that's it. So cross them out. Don't do this, right? Don't do this. Don't do this. This is the answer. And that's the answer. And then as a good habit, use a calculator to check the answer from the beginning. So you still have to show all the work, alright? But then I'm just going to use the calculator to check the answer from here. Go to mode, go to number 5 for equation, and go to 3. Okay? A is equal to 9, equal B is equal to 6, equal C is equal to negative 5. And then equal one more time. I get X is equal to negative 1 plus square root of 6 over 3. Oops. That's exactly the same as what we got right here. Negative 1 plus square root of 6 over 3. They just put both fractions together. And then if you press the down button, x2, it's negative 1 minus square root of 6 over 3. Same thing. So again, go to mode, go to the first one, regular computation. Close it, and that's it.